This is the first time ever that Diego Simeone has won away at Barcelona.
Insane.
Yes. And here's the crazy thing. The thing I love the most about this game, he dedicated to his dad because it was the day his dad died. And then you can hear him laughing on the way to the locker room at the end. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shirtless Plantain Show. This is the weekend review. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy Hanukkah, and all of that for everybody who celebrates. And those of you who don't, Happy Kwanzaa.
I forgot the Kwanzaa.
Yes, all of that. Before we start, there's something I wanted to talk about first. In the Algerian League, a match between Constantine and Magra, the referee used a phone to call a goal for offsides.
In theory, I should just be laughing because this is hilarious. But I am delightfully happy. I am so pleased that you're sharing this information with me because what have I been saying about VAR since the beginning? Yeah. Why can't it just be refs looking at a little thing in their pocket? Just look at the same replays we're looking at. That's it. Better yet, at regular game speed. So you're not making a decision based on the fact that everything looks more dramatic or cooler when it's in slow motion. So shout out to Algeria, man. Like, they're not quite Morocco, I mean, they got better jerseys right now, but outside of that, they're not quite Morocco. But if referees are doing this, taking the initiative, showing FIFA what they should be doing, FIFA and IFAB, shout out to Algeria, man. Fuck yeah. Shout out. Let's put that Riyad Mahrez clip in right here. Put it right here. Like right here. Boom.
I'll edit this and splice this just for you.
There you go, my brother. Thank you.
Speaking of Algerian, let's go to Spain. Not too far from each other. They're not that far.
The Moors.
Yeah, they're pretty close. Barcelona, Atletico Madrid. I love this game because if you could think about Diego Simeone in one instance, it's this game.
It was a classic Diego Simeone, Atletico Madrid smash and grab. I as much as it's hilarious to watch Barca lose 3 games in a row, they absolutely deserve to win this game. This was peak in a lot of ways, and I'm not using this to tar Hansi Flick with a bad brush or anything, because I think the team is actually better now than they were under Xavi. But a big problem in Xavi's era was that they would create all these chances in games and just not convert. And it seems like Barca are going through a similar phase at the moment because they haven't been poor in any of these games they've lost. People have sort of figured out the offside trap thing a little bit more, but still Barca are still the better team in most of these games. And this was no exception. Pedri had maybe the best game I've seen him play ever in this game. And he scored the only goal. He scored the first goal in the game before Atleti equalized through Rodrigo de Paul, then got the late winner. It was basically the last kick of the game, right?
Yeah,
through Sorloth. And this is harsh. I admit this because to me, I know we talk about a lot of people, but to me, the best midfielder in the world is Pedri. When he's healthy, nobody's really seeing him. He's good as a 10. He's good as an 8. He's good as a 6. The only thing that I feel like he's missing is, even though he scored in a game like this, when you perform this well and your team is not converting, what are you supposed to do? You put the team on your back and you figure that shit out yourself and you make sure you don't lose. If you're not going to win the game, don't lose the game. So at least if you're not going to score the winning goal, make sure that motherfuckers don't get out of position and, have you consider a late, silly goal. And now Atleti are on top of La Liga. Who saw that coming?
Nobody. And I got some fun facts about this game for you. This is the first time ever that Diego Simeone has won away at Barcelona.
Insane.
Yes. And here's the crazy thing. The thing I love the most about this game, he dedicated to his dad because it was the day his dad died. And then you can hear him laughing on the way to the locker room at the end of the game. It was just like, this guy's a sick man. He's such a sick man.
His dad is probably laughing in the grave too. This is a sick family, just a bunch of grafters. I mean, it's weird because I wouldn't want to root for a team like Atleti.
No.
It's football terrorism. It would not be good for my blood pressure to watch this kind of shit every week. But the idea that you can just like work really hard and just keep running and somehow the shit will work out. It's very seductive when you're Diego Simeone because every so often some dope shit like this happens for him. And, you can't really argue with their approach sometimes, but they did not deserve this.
You know who reminds me of him a lot is Rodrigo de Paul.
Yeah.
I've seen enough Diego Simeone as a player. I was like, that's his actual, like, we've seen his other kids play, like Gio or whatever.
Yeah.
The Paul's his actual child.
Yeah,
Like,
his kids are strikers. What the fuck?
yeah. Like, how he protected Maradona? Like, that was his goal to protect Maradona Ortega. Rodrigo de Paul protects Messi.
Correct.
That's his son. That's his actual child.
Spiritually. And it's fascinating because, like Simeone is remembered as mostly a bit of a hatchet man.
Yeah.
But you don't get to play for the teams he played for in his career and not be an actual good footballer. He played for Atleti, played for Inter, played for Lazio back when Serie A was the league. Mm-hmm. And he could play a little bit. He wasn't just about kicking people. He could play a little bit. And that is the thing that Rodrigo de Paul seems to have added to his game this season. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, and I'm not going to look them up because no one holds me accountable for anything ever. Love it. But I think he might be close to double-figure assists this season. This is not something we've really known de Paul for in his time at Atleti. So it's really nice to see him evolving as a player. But ultimately, he's Argentinian, and so is Simeone, so fuck him.
I mean, that literally the last goal was all because of him. You go watch it. He was scanning all over the pitch, and he's the one that had that pass. So he played well. But listen,
it was naive from Barcelona. It was naive. I mean, you can't lose like that at home. Do you think Atleti will hang with the big two the whole way?
They will. I think they can. I think they got some about them this year. Like we mentioned, Griezmann is just, I don't know why he still got it. He still got it. Yeah. But they'll hang.
Maybe it's a family decision. We decided that Real Madrid would win the league.
Yeah, and they beat Sevilla 4-2.
Yeah, do we still feel that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. This is obvious Jesus Navas' farewell game when they gave him a standing ovation at the Bernabeu, which is impressive. Mbappe looks like Mbappe.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
Yeah, it's quickly how things how it's scary how quickly things can turn around. I mean, it wasn't even a month ago that he went to Anfield and had that terrible game.
Yes.
And a little bit before that, it was the 8 offsides against Barcelona. And now all of a sudden he's scoring these crazy golazos, and now we're all scared.
All because he's tucking his shirt in.
Is he still doing that?
Yeah, he is.
All right, well then maybe that's where the magic is at. I might tuck my shit in right. You know what? It's hot in this bitch. I'm gonna leave my shit hanging out, man.
Yo, you know what's crazy though? Valverde.
Yeah.
The way he shoots, the NRA would love to have him because
bro, the guy is he has a rocket for a right foot. I mean, like, he is incredible. I mean, he's not. It's nice that he has Toni Kroos's shirt now, but he's no Toni Kroos. He's something entirely different. Toni Kroos wasn't doing that.
You seen the Accountant, right? That movie. That's what he is. Just a sniper. That's all he does. It just shoots. That's all he does.
I was gonna say all that weird Uruguayan aggression that makes people like put fingers up other people's. He channels it into being a leader on this Real Madrid team, and he does anything the manager needs him to do. I think for a couple of weeks there, he was playing right back.
Yeah,
because Vasquez is back now, so he doesn't have to do that anymore. But that goal, whew, good Lord. Which one's better, his or Mbappe's?
I'll say Mbappe just because of the way Mbappe is his form. We expect that from Valverde, but Mbappe is more so just like he's finally coming to his own. He said after the game that, like, I want to now start becoming a part of this. Like, he's finally feeling like himself. So I think that was more for me on the sentimental part. So,
well, he's going to have to track back a little bit more though. Vinny did not play this game.
No.
So that's something to consider, because once he's back, then how does that affect dynamics? But I believe Carlos still kind of played Mbappe where he will be playing, even when Vinny is back. So hopefully things stay, because it was Brahim Diaz on one side and Rodrigo on the other side. And it looked pretty good. They both scored. Yeah, everybody scored. Yeah. So, yeah.
And Luca Bayo scored, and Romero, the consolation goals. But yeah, good for Real Madrid, 4-2. Leganes, who beat Barcelona, they lost 5-2 to Villarreal. Our boy, Barry. Kenyo Barry.
Barry, yeah.
Scored a hat trick. So
very, very nice hat trick. I mean, he's been scoring throughout the season, but this sort of explosion was kind of, if you watch their highlights every week, it was very clear that at some point he was going to have a game like this, because he's always been in and around the box, creating chances on his own, getting on the things that his teammates are creating, and well-deserved hat trick, well-deserved victory for them. Totally dominated this game, wasn't even close. Does make you wonder though, I know football isn't A plus B equals C, but if Leganes is going away to Barcelona and winning, they should be doing better than losing 5-2 at home to Villarreal, I feel like. But I don't know. It's La Liga. It's
they do whatever they want.
They do.
Speaking of doing whatever they want, Real Betis and Rayo was 1-1. We bring this up because Isco Disco scored his first goal since injury, so we're very happy that Isco Disco is back. So Isco is just the keeper of the flame.
And I don't know if we've ever mentioned Issy Palazon on this podcast, but it's overdue. and will now do it, even though we've been avoiding him mainly because he's bald and he plays for Rayo Vallecano, a team that don't really care about or talk about that often. But they did hold Real Madrid to a 3-3 draw 2 weekends ago. And this last weekend, Issy popped up again. He's usually the one. He's sort of like their version of what's the guy at Celta Vigo? Yeah, Aspas.
Yes.
Issy Palazon is like Rayo Vallecano's version of that guy. Like he's always the guy popping up in that moment. And he has a distinctive look about him. Little short dude, bald head, great player. Basically a La Liga legend at this point. When they're doing their own Barclays men in a decade from now, they'll be mentioning that motherfucker.
There we go. Celta Vigo and Real Sociedad was 2-0. Sociedad had most of the ball, but guess what that means? Nothing, because you lost 2-0. So
yeah. They I don't know who Pablo Duran is, but we might have to pay attention to him because his first goal was a banger, the second one was a tap-in, so that motherfucker got range, So essentially, Real Sociedad, like you said, they had the ball, they dominated the game, but in the moments that mattered, there was a 6-minute spell where Pablo Duran scored 2 goals, and that basically settled the game. Otherwise it was kind of even, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, Duran seems like a very popular name in the world of football now. So
Yes, sir.
Let's look at the standings in La Liga. Atletico Madrid is obviously in first with 41 points. Real Madrid is second with 40 points, but they both have a game in hand. Barcelona's third with 38 points, 19 games played. Athletic Club is fourth and 36, and that rounds out the top 4 in La Liga. So there we go.
Let's head on out.
We're going to go to Germany.
Yes, sir.
Bayern Munich and Leipzig. That game started like a house on fire. I don't know what Leipzig was doing on that first goal. They were not defending. I know that much.
Bro, I thought, well, that's the Bundesliga. Like we get our transitions, we get our goals. I thought we were about to get a classic because Bayern went bas, and Leipzig went bus. Then Bayern went bas, and Leipzig was like, I tap. We don't
got enough for that.
But this was it's not as if Bayern necessarily needed the bodies or the help, but there's a clear difference between them when they have Harry Kane in the lineup and when they don't. And even though he didn't score in this game, he was very much involved. He was very much the decoy that allowed everyone else to do their thing. Musiala, per usual. I mean, ultimately, we're only talking about this game in more detail because it's Leipzig, but this could have been a game against Holstein Kiel or whoever the fuck they destroyed them.
Yeah, destroyed them. Michael Olise is crazy, by the way. He's such a fun player to watch.
Yeah. I hope he had fun at Selhurst Park this weekend, too.
He didn't.
Take that, Michael.
St. Pauli and Stuttgart, 1-0, St. Pauli. Stuttgart couldn't break down the guests, and Eggstein scored a goal. That's what a German-ass last name.
Johannes Eggestein.
Yeah.
I don't really know him, but he has a cool last name, so he had to make the agenda. But yeah, Stuttgart, man, like St. Pauli is not a bad team, but Stuttgart, given the form they've shown over the last season and a half, really, you'd expect them to be doing better than losing at home to, St. Pauli. But it happens. Yeah. It's football.
How is the stocks for Seb Honas going this year? I feel like they're...
I still rate him. I think ultimately, yes, it's much easier to identify a manager as good when his teams are winning. But I think that the smartest way to judge a manager is really through the process. Like we'll get to this in a little bit, but I wonder if Spurs would have made the decision they made with Ange if they realized that, no, this nigga is really not changing this shit. Like no matter what, he's not, maybe they go a different way, like with Honas, he did such a good job last season that it's difficult for me to ignore all of that due to the inconsistent form, like they have more obligations this year. I think they're in the Champions League, is it?
Yeah.
So you expect some inconsistency. They're not quite Girona, but they're kind of around there, it feels like.
Yeah. Coach's favorite team in the Bundesliga, Mainz. They beat Frankfurt 3-1. Mainz scored 3 goals from 3 shots. Efficient. And
that is
Frankfurt,
crazy. Like who they got coaching them? The Mossad or something? Like what's going on, man? Like these niggas accurate as fuck. What the hell, man? Like what they use drones to score these goals or something? What the hell's going on, bro?
Allegedly.
But yeah, this one was another upset, man. This is one of those games on paper you'd have thought Marmouche and Co would have done something, but the Marmouche wasn't mushing, man. What happened, man? Well, lo mushi kilo de.
I don't know, man. Like I saw the score and I went to look up the highlights. I was like, yo, wait, what the hell has just happened? I was like, I expect you guys to beat Mainz, but guess not. Um,
Football is hard, man. Like football is hard. Like the way people react to results on the internet makes you think that it's easy, but it's not. Football
no,
is hard as hell, man. It really
bro, especially in the cold.
is. Well, not for the white people. That's a problem for us.
Dortmund, Wolfsburg was 3-1. Nuri Sahin's had a very ultra attacking lineup. He don't care. Garassi, Beer, Malin, Giddens, and Brandt. And by the way, apparently Jamie Bino Giddings is linked to Bayern Munich now. So
that makes sense. They need to refresh their winger core. I mean, why resign Sane at 15 million a year if you can just get the hot new thing for much cheaper? Like it is what it is. But I hope someone in the Prem beats them to it. But if he's smart, he should stay at Bayern. Do a couple tours there. Maybe one contract.
Yeah. But yeah, they beat them 3-1. Nothing to really take away from this. Nuri Sahin's doing his thing. They're up and down this year.
I don't know that he's going to play this ultra attacking lineup in the Champions League though. Like no. It's not recommended. I mean, but I do appreciate the bravery to do it against a team that he knows his team should be beating. Mm-hmm. Now, when Pascal Gross got that red card after about an hour, shit got real lemon booty, but they made it.
Yeah. Leipzig, Leverkusen, they beat the stuffing out of Freiburg. Patrick Schick was razor sharp. Sorry, I had to make that joke again. He got 4. Wirtz had 1, but listen, man, Florian Wirtz is just a wonder to watch.
He really is. He almost seems as if he's a level above the Bundesliga. Yeah, like it almost. I'm kind of glad that the rumors coming out are that Bayern probably can't afford to get him because as long as it doesn't end up at like City or someplace like that, I'd be really pleased if he left Germany. I think I'd like to see him. Honestly, I'd like to see him in the Premier League. I just think it'd just be nice to have a player that good somewhere that's not the Bundesliga. Because how teams can't beat Bayern now? What the fuck are they gonna do if they get someone like Wirtz on the team? That's ridiculous.
You just gotta beat the ass, like literally physical fights. There's nothing else to do about that. But Schick's getting his chance. Boniface is obviously out injured, and Schick has been taking as much advantage of the time he has to start. So good for him.
Yeah, I mean, if he keeps it going, who knows what might happen? We kind of wrote them off already, but who knows? A striker in form can take you far.
This is very true. Let's look at the standings in Germany. Bayern are first with 36 points. Leverkusen are second with 32 points. Frankfurt and Leipzig third and fourth, 27 points each. Mainz are fifth. Whoa, with 25 points, and Dortmund are sixth with 25 points. That is insane. Whoa.
Nothing is normal anymore right now, man. The world is upside down.
Everything's weird, truly upside down. Over in France, last week, Monaco and PSG was 4-2. That game was just weird.
Yeah. That's the game where Donnarumma got his face cleated, right?
Yeah. I didn't want to send it in the group chat. That's some shit. If you found it yourself, you found it yourself. I'm not doing that. I
saw it. It was gross, man.
Yeah. And it was an accident too.
Yeah. I still think even if it's an accident, I think that if you injure your opponent that badly, you should be off the pitch.
Yeah.
I think every professional footballer, and not even everybody that goes out onto a field of sport to compete against other people has an obligation, a responsibility to make sure that they take care of the other people.
Yeah.
Like you can't say you're competing to the extent that you hurt people. It's not cool. I know it was an accident, but I do think it was an avoidable accident. And I think it's a shame that they didn't at least get the benefit of a red card for what happened there, but it is what it is. He'll be fine.
Yeah. But this weekend it was dedicated to the round of 64 in the Coupe de France. Brest and Lille both won they were both away, right?
Yeah.
They both won away. Yeah. PSG and Lens went to penalties. Raphael Varane showed up in disguise.
Oh.
Yeah, he was in the
old
stands.
Long boy. Yeah.
Yeah, he showed up, scarfed up on all of that. So he was there.
Must not have been a good surprise if you found him. I mean, what kind of disguise? Everybody know who the fuck you are. That's not disguise, bro. What the hell is that? I don't know.
He showed up just scarfed up and just tried to hide.
Balaclava on and it didn't work. What the hell, bro?
Yeah. But most of the remaining teams they won, so it's a little cozy. Yeah. So they don't got no games until the new year. So yeah,
that's good for them.
Let's go over break. Very break. Let's go over to Serie A. Milan beat Verona 1-0. Our boy Tijani Rangers is continuing his just excellence. Another winner for him. Fonseca is using his carrot and stick. This time he benched Theo Hernandez. I don't know if I like it, but it's working.
I don't know, man. I'm a big when it comes to coaching, I'm a big authoritarian. I'm not saying that coaches should be mean to people or disrespect them or anything, but every coach has the right to die on his own sword. If he's in there and he feels as if these guys aren't training well or they're not living the right way, I mean, look at what's going on at your club, for instance. Marcus
We'll get to
Rashford
that.
hasn't made some squads. Like I think every manager has a right to drop whoever. Like just because you make money or you're a star, if you're not doing what the manager wants, you shouldn't play. So and these guys are playing. He's just kind of giving them minutes off the bench. Him and Leao. Like I think they probably think we're not there. We're not in the locker room, but I get the sense that they feel like they're too big for the locker room they're in or something, and they're not quite fitting in with the culture that the new manager has tried to establish. So he's like, when you're not behaving, you're not going to play, and when you do, you will.
Yeah, well, every consequence has its action, whatever they say. So, Napoli beat Genoa 2-1. Napoli, they really weren't that good, but they won, and that's what that matters, unless you're Conte, because he yelled at them. And he was just like, everybody else has multiple games. You only play once per week. What are you doing? So,
yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if you're playing once per week and you're competing in a title race with a bunch of teams that are playing in Europe, teams should not be outrunning you. And Genoa almost did them. This was not a very good game. Patrick Vieira, he's had a mixed start to his time at Genoa, but I also wouldn't have necessarily expected him to beat Napoli in their current form. But Napoli scored from only 2 shots on target, so it wasn't a great performance. But again, it's 3 points that count. And they're well positioned to, continue on in the title race, whether or not they're running enough or not.
There you go. Roma, they're putting together some performances as of late. They beat Parma 5-0. The best player on the pitch, by far and large, was Paulo Dybala. La Joya, which is incredible. So
he's like that sometimes when he gets a good run of games and he's not hurt. He can do things like this, but he was always overrated. So whatever.
He assisted Dovbeck, who got his name spelled correctly, finally. And Paredes got a penalty, so very nice.
Yeah,
good for them.
Yeah, he was involved in 4 of the 5 goals, Dybala, so yeah, if he keeps doing this, then Claudio Ranieri would have worked for sure.
Yep. Atalanta beat Empoli 3-2. Before the game, Ademola Lookman got to show off to everybody his African Player of the Year trophy. So
very nice.
Happy for him. Very happy for him. They look tired though, didn't they? Like a bit leggy.
Yeah. So it goes when you're, playing that Champions League. That's what Conte was talking about. But they still got it done. They got it done in, entertaining style. Like Empoli are not pushovers. Empoli are actually a pretty good mid-table team in Italy, and they give these bigger teams problems. I mean, they're obviously not beating them that often, but they're definitely a problem. And they gave Atalanta as much as they could handle. Charles Di Ketelaere, man, like that boy. I mean, like Paolo Maldini wasn't wrong to buy him from Milan. Now he's not there, and Charles Di Ketelaere is at Atalanta. Well, I'm sure Milan, despite the fact that they won this weekend, will be looking at that player like we messed up there. Because this kid is out of the world, man. Like I think he has like a combined 20 goals and assists already this season. And, I was listening to a podcast and they mentioned that maybe part of the issue with Di Ketelaere is that he looks so fucking middle class. he looks so fucking soft that, the second he messes up for a couple games, the manager is like, I can't rely on this bitch ass nigga, and there you go. But Gasperini, manager of the month of November, because they've been on that long ass domestic winning streak. They've only lost to, I think, Madrid in the last 12 games they've played or something like that. They've won all the rest. Well deserved for Gasp. But he seems to be the striker whisperer. Like if you don't know where you fit in a team, or you're too tall for that team or too short for a different team, come to Atalanta. He'll figure you out.
I mean, he's got Lookman winning African Player of the Year.
Crazy.
He's got CDK looking great. Even though boy that was at Roma that scored against Roma. I'm trying to remember his name.
The other striker, Retegui?
No, not Retegui. Where's number 7 for Atalanta? It's gonna piss me off. I don't know his name. I should know his name. He played at Villa too.
Oh, Zaniolo.
Yeah, even Zaniolo's looking.
Yeah, he's been good. He's been good off the bench the last couple of weeks. But, he had to get cursed out because he's been, he's had a bit of a checkered history in Italy. He had a really ugly exit from Roma, and when he scored the winner against them a couple of weeks ago, he gave it to their fans and shit. Then the next weekend he scored another winner, and he gave his and. The coach was like, "Hey man, stop being stupid."
You know what I didn't mention? It was Leimer. He celebrated against Leipzig. I love seeing plays. Yeah.
Leipzig isn't even a real club, man. Everybody knows it. It's a fucking energy drink marketing project, So nobody cares if you're celebrating in Leipzig. It's the least you could do. Like, fuck
Yeah. Juventus beat Monza 2-1. Weston McKennie playing right back and still scoring goals.
Yeah.
He speaks really good Italian too, by the way.
I mean, he's been there long enough. That's what immersion should do. I've lived in America for a long time. I speak great English. I'm not fucking impressed. Like, stop putting ranch on your pizza, bitch. But yeah, like Juve. I suppose what stood out to me here was, they won the game, obviously, and yeah, good for them. I mean, because they've had, I think before this game, they had 4 draws in a row, just straight up boring shit from Motta's men. But I'm more interested, and I think I brought this up at the beginning of the year, but I'm more interested in the relationship between Dusan Vlahovic and Thiago Motta. I don't think they're going to make it.
No.
I don't think they're going to make it. I think the manager likes, like, his ideal forward is someone like Xerxes, who's not United and was at Bologna with him last season, like a more false 9 type of player, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It worked. I mean, like, Pep used Messi as a false 9, and we saw where that, but that's Messi. He could have used him as a false goalkeeper and it would have worked out. However, the manager likes one thing. Vlahovic is decidedly not a false 9, and I've actually taken the time to watch some Juventus games because I was trying to find some good sleeping aids. I was having some trouble sleeping, so I watched some Juventus games. And honestly, I don't know if it's a coaching or that it's a talent issue. I'm not quite sure, but my diagnosis of their scoring issues would be that they just don't find their most dangerous player enough. Vlahovic, for no matter what the manager thinks, is the best source of goals on that team. And they don't find him quickly enough. They don't find him directly enough. It's a lot of ponderous passing behind him, and he's making all ththese runs that don't get rewarded. The rare occasions that he gets, like, if they find him 3 times, he usually scores once in that game. So for me, I mean, ultimately the manager is the guy in charge, and he should die on his own sword. But I don't think Motta is doing a good job of optimizing his best source of goals in this team. And Vlahovic probably feels the same way because when he got substituted in this game, he looked very angry. And Motta's going to have fun with that one. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a good marriage over there. But, it is a good marriage? Inter and Como. And they beat them 2-0. I knew Inter was going to beat them? Seth showed up.
When it was fucking scheduled?
Yeah, that. But also, Seth showed up in an Adidas shirt, an Adidas jacket, and Nike shoes. Like, what are you doing?
Well, that's the job, man. Like, he's probably still a Nike athlete or something. I don't know. Like,
he was a Puma athlete.
Well, he was a Nike athlete before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so who knows? Who knows? But or maybe he just doesn't have a contract at all. Like, coaches don't necessarily have the same, image rights deals as the players and all that. But yeah, it's bad form from Sess, man. He don't really respect the heritage like that, man. Like, I don't even like these motherfuckers that jump from company to company. Once I've associated you with one shoe company, you need to stay with them motherfuckers, man. Once you move, I'm not fucking with you, man. Like, every time Havertz shoots the ball limply, I'm like, that's because you're wearing Puma now, nigga. Like, you should have stayed with Nike, but it's whatever. Or gone to Adidas, really. Everybody should go to Adidas. Yeah. I kid. Nike's where we're at.
Yeah. But yeah, Carlos Augusto scored a really good goal. Whoops.
What's going on? Who calling you?
He's calling me my little brother. We'll get into that later. Yeah, but Carlos Augusto scored a really good header, and it was impressive.
Yes, from a set piece. And what's his face? The guy that coach hates so much, Marcus Thuram, wrapped it up very late with a lovely, lovely near post bullet into the roof of the net. Great finish. Didn't think he had that in him. I think that's the sole reason why that motherfucker is not on the pod. Like, he could not bear the shame of having to talk about Marcus Thuram scoring a goal like that.
And Marcus Thuram is now leading Serie A in goal scoring with Teggy. They both got 12.
Well, shit. So much for that nigger that doesn't have any technique, coach. Suck it.
Let's talk about the standings in Serie A. Atalanta is first with 40 points. Napoli second with 38. Inter's third with 37. Lazio are in fourth with 34. Fiorentina are fifth with 31. And Juve are sixth with 31 as well. So a little bit tight at the top.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun race out there. Like, we didn't talk about Fiorentina, but they fucked around and lost to Udinese 1-2. Didn't see that coming. They've been in good form, but it is what it is.
And your boy scored.
Yes, Moise Kean. He scored a penalty pretty early on in the game, but Udinese came back on him, man. Florian Thauvin took it back Took a back to the Marseille days. Great goal.
Yeah. Go check that out. We're going to the Premier League now.
What, already?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
The fucking Super League, man. I'm tired of this shit. All right, let's do it.
Aston Villa beat Man City 2-1. At this point, if you're not beating Man City, then something's wrong with you. Even United beat Man City. So
man.
If United can beat City, you can too. Exactly. So there's that.
Yeah, you don't see all these motherfucking... I seen an Athletic article talking about how Unai Emery coached a midfield masterclass against me. It's like, nigga, everybody's beating these niggas, man. You don't have to coach shit. Just put some fucking niggas that can run out there, and they will run through the fucking holes that used to be City's midfield. I mean, Morgan Rogers was out there looking like a ape in a nursing home this weekend, man. He was dragging Kovacic and Gundogan. Oh, man, the shit was beautiful.
It was great. It was so powerful that Vince McMahon would have probably signed him in the 90s. That's how strong he looked.
Him and Duran, man, they were fucking just Kane and Undertaker on these motherfuckers, man. It was crazy, bro.
Yeah, it was insane. And, man, listen, Pep just looks lost.
Yeah. Well, so here's my thing about Pep and this current run of form. I do think it's a huge stain on his legacy or whatever. Because a lot of other managers, I mean, like basically what Pep is doing right now is why Russell Martin got fired. It's why we're going to talk about Ange Postecoglou in a little bit. The idea that you build a team a certain way, then because certain cogs are missing and certain people are injured, that you can't change your approach to do something else to get out of a slump is ridiculous to me. Like, you can't just keep doing the same thing every week and just moving little midget-ass motherfuckers in your midfield. Like, I'm going to put Bernardo as a 6 this week. Then it's going to be Gundogan this week. Oh, Kovacic is back. Let's put him there. They're all getting ran through, man. It's all Tiana Trump status in that motherfucking midfield. Like, so what are we doing here? Like, you can't change it up for a little bit? Like, start by getting a clean sheet. How about that?
Go back to the basics.
Go back to the basics. You're too good for that. You can't humble yourself to I mean, they're still good players. It doesn't mean that your approach gets thrown in the garbage forever. Just take it back to the basics, get some results, get some momentum, get some confidence, and you go again. The fact that he hasn't really changed anything substantial besides just moving personnel around makes me believe that this motherfucker is not as smart as we thought he was, man. Like, he needs to find a different way to cheat. Like, maybe he should do some more steroids or some shit like he did when he was a player. Maybe that would help.
Yeah.
Brain steroids, like, try some crack, Pep. Try that. You know what? Someone texted me today saying that he resigned, and I almost hurt myself on the spot because he has not suffered enough. I need him to be there until it gets awkward. Until Sheikh Mansour is like, bruv, I don't know, man. You might gotta go. Like, I want it to get awkward. It's not awkward yet. Like, bro, he still got Erling Haaland just doing cardio up there. He doesn't drop into midfield. He doesn't run out to the wing. Like, nothing has changed. How can you not change anything, then act confused in press conferences that you keep losing? But you've changed nothing. That's why you're still losing. Try something else, nigga. The fuck? Okay, I'm done.
Nothing else to add to that. I really don't, because you said it all.
It's ridiculous.
Haaland is looking like what's it called? Dolph in what's it called in Rocky? Just running around for no reason.
At least that nigga fucking won something. Shit. At least he killed somebody. He did something. Like, yeah. They done shit for weeks. Everybody in the FPL done dropped this big ass cracker and shit, man. Like, Pep fucking the whole game up, man. He out there dressed like a fucking Sith Lord and shit with this cool fucking sweater that his wife put him in, and still being a fucking loser. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. Best manager ever, my ass.
I've never seen him do a rebuild in my life. Anyway, West Ham won, Brighton won. Minto was the best player in this game, right?
Yeah. He looked very impressive on the wing. So much so that at some point I think they had to switch Aaron Wan-Bissaka to come mark him. It helped. Not a lot, but it helped. Like, he was hooping. But they eventually took the lead through Mats Wiefer. And I guess they kind of got to thank Lukas Fabianski for punching the air or whatever the fuck he did there. But pretty much 2 minutes later, West Ham had equalized. What do you think of your Ghanaian boy, Kudus? He does this little seated celebration, right? Now he has a custom stool for this at the London Stadium. It's a carved elephant wooden thing. Had enough space for his butt cheeks and Somerville's butt cheeks. Big ass stool. What is this too? This feels like a lot. No,
yeah,
it's
aggressive.
too much, right?
It's aggressive. This is like,
yeah.
The first time it was cool. Now it's just like, we're bringing in props like it's WWE. Like, what are you doing?
Like, come on, man. Like, you ain't Gallagher, bro. Like, what's next? Some fucking melons and shit. Like, come on, man. Relax.
Next thing you know, is gonna bring out a tray of eggs and start giving out like the Ghanaian.
Like, that should be his next celebration. When you score a goal, Mo Kudus, peel some eggs on the sideline. Do that shit.
Peel some, like how Ghanaian are you really? Show us.
Show us. Be a patriot.
Newcastle beat the piss out of Ipswich Town 4-0. Isak got a hat trick. Jacob Murphy, call him Jacob. I don't know what the hell that was. Jacob Murphy got a great goal. And that was that.
Yeah, Jacob Murphy is having a really fascinating season because he's not a player I've really ever really rated, but every week I watch Newcastle highlights and I'm like, Jacob Murphy's killing, man. Like, and I think it's just one of those things where a guy is taking advantage of opportunity because I think in the summer Newcastle wanted to get more players than they actually got. And I think they gave up. I think Minta was theirs originally, so they could have him on their right wing. But now they have to manage with Jacob Murphy on his strong side. Meanwhile, they have Harvey Barnes and Anthony Gordon on the other side. In actuality, it'd be better if one of those guys was left-footed so they could put him on the right. But they have to manage with Jacob Murphy. And now this motherfucker has, 11 goals and assists this season?
Something like that.
That's pretty impressive, And the final goal in this game, Jacob Murphy basically turned into Messi. He dribbled past like 4 or 5 defenders, lays off under Alexander Isak, who still had work to do in the box. But the way he sorted his feet out so quickly, got the ball out of his feet, passed it into the net. Yeah, Newcastle are in really good form right now, man. I'm not looking forward to seeing them in the Carling Cup semis, to be honest with you, as an Arsenal fan. Not looking forward to that.
I just got a text message from coach. She said, fuck Jason Tyndall. Nottingham Forest beat Brentford 2-0. Yeah. Ola, I know. Before the game, he was doing Yoruba praise and worship. We should have known that he was on fire from that. It wasn't like any normal Yoruba. It was like that real, like hardcore Yoruba praise and worship. So him and Anthony Elanga, West Africa's finest, they beat Brentford's undefeated home record.
Elanga not from the West. You're not West Side.
Who?
Where you from? Elanga, ain't his people like from Congo or some shit?
Cameroon.
Cameroon?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to give him East then. All right. East Central Africa. He don't feel like gang. I don't know. He don't feel francophone enough to me. I don't know what
his dad played for Cameroon 98 World Cup.
That's crazy, man. That was a terrible World Cup for them.
Yeah.
You shouldn't tell people that anymore. That's a terrible World Cup for Cameroon.
I'm not Cameroon. That don't got nothing to do with me. But yeah, didn't we make fun of their transfer windows a few summers ago?
Yeah, we did because they bought it felt like they bought like 33 players in one window. But I feel like that strategy has worked out. In a lot of ways, it was like the proto Chelsea, where you just buy a bunch of quality players and eventually one of the managers you hire figures it out. Because Nuno, I mean, he's doing different things every week. The basic idea and approach is the same. They want to hit teams on the break. They want to be solid at the back. They want to have a lot of running in midfield, a lot of running, tackling, and creating. Like they got Elliot Anderson, underrated player, really good. Newcastle, I'm sure they were sad to lose him. Mm-hmm. They got Morgan Gibbs-White.
Yes.
Who, while a lot of people think of him as like a creative type player, which he is, he has legs, man. He can run and run and run all day. Like them two as your creatives, plus a bricklayer behind them. Like they're gonna compete in most games, And
I like Morgan Gibbs-White. I said that I wanted him at United because he's a United fan, and like you said,
I call that fan shit. Marcus Rashford, a United fan too. Look what y'all did to him, man.
We're gonna talk about that. But yeah, I mean, it's working out for them. And even someone like Olaino, like grew up in Chelsea, and he went to Italy. So yeah,
they got him as a free agent.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that's a good player, man.
And then so a lot of people think, well, I'm not one of them. A lot of people think he might be the best right back in the league right now. I'm not with it. That's a little much. Let's give it a couple more weeks, but he's doing well, and we're proud of him.
Yeah, he is doing
but
very well.
He got to pull his fucking pants up. Like, I don't give a fuck how Yoruba you are and how much praise you worship. Like, bro, get it together. It's unacceptable.
He looks like TJ Ford in 2005.
He looks like someone that fucking Eric Adams would fucking stop and frisk. Like, come on, man. Like, get it together, brother.
Chelsea and Everton was 0-0. Sean Dyche did it to Arsenal, did it to Chelsea.
Pretty much. I mean, like, Arsenal fans got all uppity about getting Dyche the other weekend, and Arsenal didn't actually play bad in that game. They probably could have scored if Odegaard had his shooting boots on that day. That's an easy 2-3-0 victory. Chelsea didn't even create that much. They got way less. To be fair, it was at Goodison. And they almost lost it at the end. Tosin and Deen had to make a great tackle/block in the last minute of the game, basically, So it wasn't a full Daishin, but Maresca was this close to a full Daishin, But yeah, I mean, they're in the title race, that's for sure. If you're in it at Christmas, you're in the title race, but it's not going to be easy. Like, now people know that you're a good team. They're going to approach you differently. They're not going to just open Yansh to face you anymore. It's going to be a lot of deep blocks, nigga. Show us what you're working with, Cole Palmer. We seen you on the sideline all day yesterday, sniffing that sideline, sniffing that fucking sideline coke, nigga. Your heat map was cold, nigga. Shiver on that shit, bitch.
You know who else not in the title race? Man United. Because they lost 3-0 to Brentford. This is back
to Bournemouth. Be respectful, please.
Yeah, to Bournemouth. Excuse me.
Identify the source of your pain, nigga. Don't try to play that shit off. Like, they did that shit to you last year. You should be more respectful.
I literally was about to say back-to-back years of
That's rough.
losing 3-0.
Couldn't be me. I could not root for a team like that. That's crazy. That's crazy. Bournemouth.
The United podcast with me and Tommy's out. We didn't even talk about the game. We just basically just said that United fans are a bunch of bitch-ass niggas. That's really what we said.
Which is true. It's just true. I mean, Twitter is a bad barometer for all this shit. I want to think based on what I watched, and I listened to some podcasts that talk about what's going on at clubs that are not Arsenal. I get the sense that the people who actually show up to the stadium understand. They've been listening to Ruben. They understand that this is a process. It's going to take a while.
The fans at Old Trafford are dumb. I'm sorry.
No, I don't know. I don't feel like.
Oh no, they are.
Maybe they weren't the most supportive, but there wasn't much support. I mean, they were getting beat 3-0 by Bournemouth.
No, they're dumb.
Sorry. I think fans should be able to express some disappointment in that. And I don't think they were that bad.
Yeah.
But I do think this is the path. This is the path. I think Ruben should be brave. He should stay strong. Stick with the 3-4-3, because that way you can show the people above you that make the decisions about who to buy and who to sell that this is what we're going to be doing. Now, I don't think this is a discussion for another day. I do think there are flaws in his tactical model that we can talk about later. But for now, we want to do a 3-4-3. These are the players we have. These are the ones that fit, that are going to perform well in the system. These other guys don't fit. You've seen it. Now let's get rid of them and bring me some players. If you switch to a 4-3-3 because you want to get results or whatever, now everything is muddled. You've basically become Ten Hag.
Lily's about to say that.
Don't become Ten Hag.
You have to stick to your principles.
Stick to your guns.
By the way, you know who United will link to heavily today? Victor Osimhen. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Doesn't feel credible unless you guys get Champions League, to be honest. I mean, I know you can pull certain guys without Champions League, but he's already spent half a season outside of the top flight of Europe. I'm not really sure it's good for his career prospects to go to a team that won't be in Europe. Yeah. But you certainly could use a player like that. But everybody could use a player like that, even City right now.
He's a top 5 striker in the world.
Pretty much. That hasn't changed, even though he's in Turkey.
No, he's still banging goals in Chelsea.
Yeah, I watched his highlights this week.
In Galatasaray, yeah, he's banging.
He was killing, yeah.
Yeah. Fulham and Southampton was 0-0. Southampton got a new coach, dude from Italy.
Yeah, Ivan Juric. Got fired by Roma earlier this season, one of Gasperini's old lieutenants.
Do you know what he said?
What he say?
He said, "I'm here to suffer." He goes, nobody's ever from this position stayed in the Premier League, and I like that challenge. I'm like, oh, this man's sick.
Hey, man, it's easy to like any challenge you get as a manager in the Premier League because they pay the most there. But not to be completely cynical about it, it was just really refreshing to watch Southampton, a team that I have cursed out on several occasions on this podcast, and probably some other podcasts that you motherfuckers ain't listen to. Just play with some common sense. Like the interim manager, I forget what's his name. I think it was Martin's assistant, Simon Rusk. He went to a 3 at the back because clearly a 2 doesn't work for them. So that was the first good thing. I mean, now it helps that Aaron Ramsey was back with a special glove or whatever. Cool, whatever. Nice condom, bro. But I think the cool thing about what Russ did as the intern for one game was he basically had them play suffer ball. So that way, when the new guy comes in, the fans can't get all bougie about it. It's like, you're probably not going to be saved. I'm sure he enjoys a challenge. Yeah, like Pep enjoys a challenge over there too. It's not going to work out for either one of these niggas. But at least there's some realism going on. They didn't try to pass the ball out every time. Like they booted it sometimes because the press was intense. It's like, okay, get rid of it. Unlike with Russell Martin, which is, well, we play a certain way and we have certain that, like, nigga, you're not Vincent Company. Like, you just got a cool beard, motherfucker. That's all. Like, you just like a managerial Charles de Ketelare, and now you don't got no job no more. Look at you.
Tough. Leicester and Wolves. Wolves beat the piss out of them. But Cunha's goal was good. What was that goalkeeper doing?
So I remember seeing Danny Ward at the Emirates last season. Not because they lost 4-2 earlier this season, but he was in goal for them the season before that. And Arsenal beat them 4-something. I forget what the score was. And at least 2 of those goals were his fault. And throughout the season, it was very clear that he wasn't a Premier League level goalkeeper. And they have, I think it's Hermansen as their goalkeeper right now, who was actually pretty good at the Emirates this season. But ultimately, I don't think they lost just because of the goalkeeper. Wolves are a team that literally just got their new manager. What's his name? Vitor Pereira?
Yep.
Is it? A guy that's been begging for a Premier League job for like 15 years, apparently. He's been trying to make it to the Premier League, so I'm happy for him. But it seems like a very... by the time Gary O'Neill got fired, he had lost complete authority. It was like 3 weeks in a row that they were fighting people after the game, and there was all kinds of nonsense going on. I actually moved Cunha from my FPL team because I thought he was going to be suspended by the FA for taking someone's glasses off the weekend before. But they let him play, and he scored a nice goal that most goalkeepers would probably save.
Yep.
But if you're like, say, a League 2 level goalkeeper, you might not save it, and that's probably what Danny Ward is. No disrespect. But yeah, it's a very simple equation. I wouldn't even call this new manager bounce. Like, it was just one of those things where it's like you have a locker room. Like, remember when Wolves were like a threat in the Premier League?
Yeah.
What was their main quality? So Nuno was in charge, right?
Yeah.
He's Portuguese, and they have Jorge Mendes buying all their players. He's Portuguese, and he buys them a bunch of what? Portuguese-ass players. By the time Gary O'Neill left, half the team was English, like the starters. This motherfucker came in and put all the Portuguese motherfuckers back in, and they played for him. Sometimes people may respect you, but you just kind of lack the authority to make them do what they're supposed to do. Because he was in press conferences talking about, we conceded from another set piece. They're not standing where I asked them to stand. And it's like, bro, if they're not doing what you asked them to do, it's not just a communication issue. Nigga, they don't respect you.
They don't like you.
So they probably should have fired him probably a month before they did. And it's hard not to root for this guy. It's hard not to root for him. But when he comes to the Emirates or when we go there, I want everything bad in life to happen. Yeah. in football.
Yeah. Arsenal, they beat the brakes. We didn't talk about Arsenal.
Oh, do we have to?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Arsenal beat Crystal Palace 5-1. It was bad beating, and then unfortunately Bukayo Saka is hurt.
Yeah.
There's an Arsenal edition out now with Dean and Gabby.
Yes.
Coaches at the stadium, so you're gonna go listen to those two. Please go do that. But yeah, Bukayo Saka's out. That's it was a great win, but the worst part is Bukayo Saka's out, and that sucks.
Honestly, I would have taken an L here to keep him healthy. Honestly, it's not worth it. It's a shame. I think I'm still confident that Arsenal will be in it to the end, but getting the news about him being injured, that he's torn his hamstring and it's probably somewhere around 8 weeks to get him back. This is the first moment since the season started, despite all the shit that has happened, all the red cards and the bad results, and Odegaard out for a bit, and Calafiori out, and Gabriel. Like, this is the first moment I've thought to myself, we might not win the league this year. Because Bukayo Saka is that important to Arsenal.
I mean,
like if Liverpool lost Mohamed Salah, that's essentially what just happened to Arsenal here. So that said, I do trust the manager to figure out a way to keep Arsenal afloat. There are a lot of good players in this team, and everybody can give more. The thing about a system is that players don't give 100% of all the things they can do. Like, there are a lot of games where I watch Saliba not hit one, like there are stretches of games, like 5 games in a row, Saliba doesn't hit a single long ball. It's not because he can't do it. It's because it's not part of the game model. Yep. So the hope is that there's enough extra 10% from everyone else that has to play that Arsenal can stay in it until Bukayo Saka is back to help push us on and the title running and all that bullshit they be talking about in March.
Yeah. Speaking of March.
I'm sad as fuck, bro. I'm sad as fuck.
I know.
In the pod. I'm not going to make it.
I know.
I give him my hamstrings, but I'm famously fragile myself, so fuck it.
You know who else is fragile? Ange. They lost 6-3 to Liverpool. It was a very stupid game, first and foremost. But Yeah. Yeah, take the floor, man. I don't want to talk about this game no more.
It's fucking. I mean, we all knew this game was going to be ridiculous, given all the totality of the circumstances surrounding the game. Like Tottenham are consistently inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
They play the system that we've all talked about. Everybody talks about it all the time, to the point that Ange is annoyed. They have a lot of injuries right now. They basically started in. I think Porro is the only starting member of their back four that's healthy right now. It was Dragusin, Archie Gray, and some other motherfucker I don't know.
Jet Spence.
There we go. Playing on the wrong side.
Yeah.
You know? So he's not particularly himself either.
Yeah.
And the thing about Ange's system is that he leaves a lot of space in behind, and there's no team in Europe better at running into space than Liverpool. And the masterstroke, if you want to call it that, from Arne Slot, I'm pretty sure they would have won without him doing this, but it was a good idea to do it. He put Szoboszlai as their highest midfielder, and that motherfucker was doing modeling catwalks all through Tottenham's defense and shit, man. Crazy, man. Like, they scored every which way. You know, like there was a Trent cross and a Diaz header. There was Salah dribbling through three motherfuckers. There was counterattack goals. There was set piece goals. It was a training exercise, to be honest with you. And the only guy that really showed up for Tottenham is the same guy that shows up every week, Kulusevski. Sure, James Maddison scored, but you know, we established a long time ago that he's a bitch. So so that don't mean nothing to me. But I guess, Tosin, my question for you is, Ange is Ange.
Yeah.
We've all I've accepted by now that he's going to do what he does. But is there an argument that when you're missing your best players, you know, because they bought players over the summer, but none of the players they bought were really, maybe outside of Solanke, were really there to sort of upgrade the team. They're just good depth, and young players are going to develop over time. Like, I like Archie Gray, for instance. I like the Bergvall kid.
Yeah.
But if you don't have your best, like, I understand sticking with what you want to do all the time if you have your starting 11. But if the best players are going, it's a bit like the Pep thing. Isn't there an argument that you change it for a bit? You know?
Ange is stubborn, and Ange does what he wants to do. You're at a club like Tottenham where, no offense, they don't really have any standards, you know? So you can do, you get away whatever, but it's looking very, very sticky for him. So
I don't know. I think he strikes me as the kind of guy that, you know, obviously he's not doing his job to get fired, but if that happens, I mean, okay, if you're a Tottenham, the club, if you're Dan Levy and the owners, what do you do? Like, I mean, because one could argue that it's probably firing time already. But
they gotta invest in January for sure. They need bodies, and I don't know, man. It's like there are managers out there.
Start over again?
That's what I'm saying. That's like,
I don't know, man. Like,
I don't got the answers.
I'm an Arsenal fan. I don't give a fuck about Tottenham, but they gotta stick to a project. Like, they fucked up when they fired Pochettino all those years ago. And since then, they've just been it's like
Conte, Mourinho.
They fired Mourinho before
the
Carling Cup final. Like, what is this club, man? Like, it's like they exist just for the rest of us to laugh at.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how down bad your team is, give Tottenham a week. It will cheer you up. Like, literally, it's ridiculous. But all that said, I want to give a lot of credit to Liverpool. For most of this season, and I still haven't changed my opinion on this, I feel like, one, they had a really light schedule to start in the league, and two, a lot of their European games were, they met teams at their worst point. They met Real Madrid without Vinicius. They met RB Leipzig when everybody was injured, and now they're just having a shit season. They came to Arsenal, and by the time that game was over, Arsenal was playing a makeshift defense with number 5. Saliba didn't play. He was suspended. It was Jakob Kivior, Miles Lewis-Skelly, and some other motherfucker. You know, so they've had a lot of luck, and you need luck to win.
For sure.
But I would say I really enjoyed the way they demolished Tottenham. There was no playing around with their food. Again, they did it to them every which way. They scored every kind of goal. There was never in doubt that they were going to win this game. You know, Salah with 2 goals and 2 assists. Like, yeah, he did get upset when he got substituted though. Like, what kind of greed is that? Is that biblical greed? Is that Christmas greed? What's Salah doing? What kind of greed is this?
Salah celebrates Christmas, and he also goes on Hajj as well. So he's very greedy. So
okay, Ramadan greed.
Yeah. That's Ramadan greed. Let's look at the standings in the Prem. Liverpool is first with 39 points. Chelsea second with 35. Arsenal's third with 33. Nottingham Forest is in fourth with 31. Bournemouth is 5th with 28, and Villa's also 6th with 28 points. Wow. So, yeah. And if you're a United fan, don't look at the table.
Isn't this the first time in history that you guys are in the bottom half at Christmas?
Yeah.
That's wild, man. I think, real quick before we leave, I'd like to say, Ineos, I know patience is required. They don't even, I mean, people talk about them, but they technically don't own the club. They're just operating a part of the club. But I do think they've made a lot of mistakes early on. They just have, like there's the Ashworth thing. There's the fact that they let Ten Hag spend all that money this summer when he probably should have been fired before they started buying anybody.
For sure.
And even worse for me is that they kind of strong-armed Amorim into taking the job when he took the job. I think that was a mistake. They should have just left Ruud van Nistelrooy in pace. He's over at Leicester right now doing what he would have eventually started doing at United, which is losing games. So he could have lost the games, cleared out the locker room. Then Amorim could have come in, done a fucking training camp like every coach wants to do. Then you start fresh. Now we got the same kind of Ten Hag energy in the building, but with a more handsome dude dealing with the stress of it. And I just feel bad for the man. I really do. But I think ultimately the game as a whole will look at him and not really blame him specifically because it's United, man. Like, shit is just bad, man. Shit is bad. Where you at with this Rashford stuff, bro?
I got a lot to say about what you just said just now. All right, so I've been a fan of United since forever. I think a lot of times what I'm seeing in media and a lot from fans, because on social media, a lot of fans have big voices. I feel like a lot of United fans don't know how to get to point D without looking at point A, B, C. It's like, how do we get here, right? And I saw something today in a group chat I was in talking about how Ineos doesn't want to take care of the women's team. I was like, I remember when Malcolm Glazer got rid of the women's team because it wasn't profitable. I was like, so why are we forgetting what happened before? I was like, we don't get to this sludge where we're at without the previous owners. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Ineos hasn't done anything right or wrong. I'm not saying anything about that. But I'm saying is that, like, you can't forget the bullshit that got us to this bullshit. That's all I'm saying. Right?
That's fair, but at what point do you move on to the next stage of this?
You can't, because literally we're here. The only reason why Ineos took over is because they spent so much bullshit money. They needed somebody else to inject funds in. That's the only reason. Those guys didn't want to sell the club, but they realized that they really bled the club dry. So we're here because of that. But as far as the Marcus Rashford thing, man, listen, I don't know how to make, like, to me, I love Marcus Rashford. I've said this ad nauseum. Like, I love Rashford. I love what he's done. But I also think it's time for a breakup. We've all been in relationships. You all know when it's time to end the relationship. And that relationship with United and Rashford is looking like it needs to be over very soon. But the only issue now is, where does Rashford go? Because United don't want to sell him to an Arsenal. They don't want to sell him to a Chelsea. They don't, honestly,
if United was an actual rival to these domestic teams that you just mentioned, then not selling him to one of them would make sense. I don't think United is in a position to be dictating where he goes. Just get him off the fucking wage bill and get in players that the manager actually wants.
Yeah.
Players that want to be there. With Rashford, like you said, it's time for the divorce. It just is, I'm not going to say he's blameless, but if I'm assigning blame, I'm giving 85% of it to the club.
Oh, easily.
This motherfucker has had a new boss every year. He's fucking been a professional footballer.
Bro,
how's he supposed to succeed? People compare him to past legends of the game. Like, all the past legends that are United legends that are on TV talking and criticizing this boy right now, they had one manager, Sir Alex Ferguson. If I started naming all the managers that have been there since Rashford entered the team, we'd do this pod for an hour and a half.
Bro, listen, and I'm going to add to your point. Jamie Jackson tweeted something the other day, Kobe Maynard, where are you? And I'm just like, why are you doing this as a journalist?
Jamie Jackson is a cunt.
But this is what I'm saying is, like, the issue with United is a cultural thing that I keep saying this over and over again. So Alex Ferguson was the culture, right? Same way that Wenger was the culture at Arsenal, right? Like, where, like, you can't say anything anyhow about any player at that club because they will fucking hound. Like, Sir Alex used to ban people from press conferences.
Yeah, Ruben should ban motherfuckers like Jamie Jackson from press conferences.
And that's literally what United are missing right now. They need a strong man who comes in like, all right, bet. Y'all can't say any which way. And they keep making Ruben do so many press conferences. I'm like, yo, every day is a new press conference. Like,
yeah. And I hate this whole idea that, oh, well, this is Manchester United. It's the biggest club in the world. This is what's required of the job. It's like, bro, change what the job requires so the motherfucker in charge can succeed for once.
Yeah.
Like, do that. Like, and again, I'm going to repeat myself, but they should have just left Ruud in charge to deal with this awkward period.
Yeah.
because Ruben is supposed to be the guy. He has the charisma. He has the empathy. He's the guy. But this situation might break him before he can actually become what he can be at United. Yeah. And that would be a shame if that happened again. Because I don't know. And I don't want to question the man, but if United hit you up with that whole now and everything, like, because I think they wanted him in summer. Did he say no, or did United say no? What happened there?
I don't know, man.
It's not clear. In any event, I think he should have stood his ground and stayed with his team.
Yeah.
He should have stayed in Portugal. And if you want me bad enough, come talk to me in the summer.
Mm-hmm. I think United were a little bit fearful because City got their sporting director and he felt like they were going to go to City.
Whatever, man. Anyway, on that very, very depressing note, I would also like to wish you folks a very Merry Christmas, or as we say where I'm from, Kerisi Missy. Enjoy your families, enjoy your friends, safe travels and all that. Protect yourselves. Mask up, motherfuckers. Them airports is nasty. And don't cough around me, or else. In any event, Tosin, what else you got for them folks?
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, every single thing that we do. We got a lot of content coming for you guys. I'm going to try and feel better. I know I sound a little under the weather. I'm getting better now. So, yeah, like Dean said, mask up. Please do.
Yes. See, Tosin didn't mask up, and, he was raw dog in the air, and now the air is raw dog in him. Pause, bro.
Hey, listen, I'm much better. Anyways, y'all take it easy. We're out, everyone. Peace.
Peace. Hey, folks, this is Dean from the Shirtless Plantain Show. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and follow us on all our socials. You can see them right beneath our recordings in every video. Thanks again, and see you on the next one.